Live from the KWQC Broadcast Center, this is TV6 Quad Cities Today.
We are still following some breaking news early this morning in Davenport. We know there was a police chase with shots fired. This morning, the people involved are still on the run. Good morning, everyone. I'm Morgan OTA. Thanks so much for waking up with us. Greg does have your latest forecast, but first we want to tell you more about that breaking news out of Davenport. Police are investigating a shots fired incident and a police chase that happened early this morning in West Davenport. KWQC's Danielle McCarthy is live on one of multiple scenes. Danielle, this story is still developing, but at this point, there are no suspects in custody.
Morgan, we're at 7th and Marquette right now, where police have this area blocked off. You can see the caution tape right here at this intersection. Like you said, this is one of a couple scenes involved in this chase and shots fired incident that happened overnight. So I'm just going to explain really quickly what happened here. The chase started southwest of where we're standing now. Police had responded to a call of shots being fired. Now that took them to here as they were chasing the vehicle that was suspected to be involved in that shots fired call. So as that suspect vehicle was flying down 7th Street East here, police were able to put down some stop sticks to try to stop that car with the people inside. The car then swerved around those stop sticks and hit the tree and the signpost that you see here, then turned around and actually hit one of the squad cars before taking off north on Marquette, where we're standing right now. Eventually, the people inside that car abandoned their car in West Davenport and took off on foot. Now, during this chase, police and the suspects did fire their guns at each other, but when we were here first on scene in our exclusive interview with Police Chief Don Schaefer, he told us, to his knowledge, no police officers were hurt.
The one officer had to jump out of the way, and that's when the shots were fired and so forth. But other than that, we have nobody injured that we are aware of at this point.
So we have a second scene that we're at right now, too. We have a crew at First and Linwood in Davenport. We've heard police there talking on a megaphone to someone, them shining a bright light at a house there. We haven't been able to confirm exactly what's happening there, but we have seen a tow truck taking away a car that was there. And we do know that scene is related to what is happening right here. So we'll work to confirm some more details on that. But our crew who is there right now says that things seem to be calming down a little bit right there. Reporting live in Davenport, Danielle McCarthy, KWQC TV6 News.
All good information. Thanks, Danielle. And because a Davenport police officer fired a gun, Scott County Sheriff's deputies will take over the investigation. The Scott County Attorney has cleared 4 Davenport officers involved in a shooting that killed a man barricaded in his garage last month. Mike Walton says James Cave's fiance called 911 on September 2nd. Officers responded and spent 3.5 hours negotiating with Cave from his garage. Walton says Cave was sitting in the garage, which was full of other belongings like gasoline, preventing officers from using non-lethal options like tear gas. The man was shot while aiming his gun and walking toward police.
That precluded the use of any sort of flashbang or that type of tear gas, anything that would cause a flame, which would have created a substantial risk of a very large fire.
The 4 officers who fired their weapons and the negotiator remain on paid leave pending the conclusion of police department reviews. Another officer-involved shooting happened late on the night of August 13th. You may remember this was on the 600 block of 9th Street. Police say 61-year-old Alvin Jennings was inside a house there, stabbing holes through his roommate's bedroom door. They say he came at 2 officers with a knife. The officers then shot Jennings 7 times. The officers were also cleared in that shooting. Let's take a live look outside on your Friday morning. 52 degrees. Greg, not bad out there for the morning commute, but it could get a little bit worse, a little more windy.
Yeah, it could. The wind really the only factor today. A little bit cool, too. Today, basically, the complete opposite of yesterday when we went from early morning fog and a bit of cloud cover to sunshine, of course, yesterday. It was gorgeous. It was calm during the afternoon, and we warmed up significantly. Today, we start off clear, but we don't end up that way. We actually have cloud cover that's already moved across about the first 2/3 of Iowa. It's going to be in eastern Iowa, northwestern Illinois here over the next couple of hours. So while we do enjoy the early sunshine, the wind will pick up and the clouds will arrive, and our high temperature pretty much flattens out. Check it out. We go from the upper 40s this morning to only the upper 50s and then basically flatline through the afternoon hours before the cooler temperatures finally take over and we drop into the lower 40s tonight. So it'll be cooler early tomorrow morning than it is early today. And we do have a few cool days, maybe even getting close to the freezing mark. We'll check it out coming up.
2 nurses who contracted Ebola in Texas are now getting treatment in different parts of the country. As Andrew Spencer reports, the CDC is alerting even more people about potential exposure.
For being the first person in the United States to contract the Ebola virus, Nina Pham was in good spirits Thursday night. Pham had plenty of support as an ambulance took her away from Texas Health Presbyterian Dallas. She was flown to Maryland and taken to the National Institutes of Health for further treatment. Her coworker Amber Vinson was taken to Emory Hospital in Atlanta the day before. Vinson had taken 2 commercial flights between Dallas and Cleveland days before her diagnosis. The CDC is now reaching out to people on both flights. A federal official says Vinson told them she was not feeling well earlier than they originally thought. Her family says otherwise.
She never conveyed that to me. What Amber has directly told me is that she felt fine, that she felt well until Tuesday morning.
Infectious disease specialists say even if Vinson was symptomatic and potentially contagious, the risk to fellow airline passengers would be extremely low.
I would say you're at greater risk of driving to the airport and getting in a car accident than being infected with Ebola by being on an airplane.
I'm Andrew Spencer reporting.
In Illinois, the Department of Public Health has activated a hotline to answer questions about Ebola. It'll be managed by the Illinois Poison Center and available to the public 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. That number is 800-889-3931. You can see it on your screen. Staff is on hand to answer questions about the disease, how it's spread, and the state's response. Also today, area healthcare providers from around the Quad Cities will come together to help educate the public on Ebola facts. The meeting is at noon at the Rock Island County Health Department. We're going to have a crew there and we'll update you on the information online and in our later newscasts. Have you seen the signs? They're up just 1 day a week, so if you're not driving on an Iowa interstate, you may miss them. The Department of Transportation reps say they're highlighting an important message, one that could eventually lead to 0 fatalities on the state's highways. These new signs are edgier than the ones you may be used to seeing. There are questions on 86 signs across the state like, does your blinker not work or what? Not buckled? Seriously? And quick messages, pass on the left, drive on the right, or tailgating is for football, not highways. There are 6 of these signs in the Quad Cities Metro.
Well, you know, it's different. It's something that we don't normally do. And there was a time when we didn't really have any messages on the boards. But the message Mondays, there's a different message every week, so it really gets my attention. You know, what's on that sign today? You ask any family and any family member what their goal is for their family, it's 0. So you can spread that out throughout the state and throughout the country. The goal is 0 fatalities. So people look at those 5 behaviors that are major causes in fatal crashes. You know, distracted driving, driving while intoxicated, speeding, driving when you're tired and weary, and not buckling up. If we can eliminate those kind of distractions and those habits, we'll all be better off.
Reps say they haven't studied the stats yet, but as of yesterday, we've lost 236 lives on Iowa roadways. That's 9 fewer than last year at this time. Earlier this week, we told you the Davenport School District is down 200 students. That means less money from the state, and they're now facing a $6 million budget deficit. But TV6 found other local school districts are actually seeing more students. North Scott has 111 new students this year. Pleasant Valley is up 100 students.
There's been relocation, wanting to come to our district. We know we have families that look around and we have good developments going on. We got a great school system and that attracts people.
Superintendent Joe Studding says they'd rather have the problem of hiring new teachers or building extra space for more students than the opposite. Starting today, Apple will begin taking pre-orders for new iPad designs. Apple unveiled the iPad Air 2 and the iPad Mini 3 yesterday, but it didn't come as a surprise because Apple accidentally spilled the beans. The company leaked photos of the new iPad editions on iTunes Wednesday. Both of the new iPads have Touch ID fingerprint sensors, and the iPad Air 2 has a burst mode for taking pictures. Apple will start shipping the new iPads by the end of next week. And starting next week, you can pay for stuff with your iPhone 6. Apple announced its new mobile payment system, Apple Pay, will launch on Monday. The feature lets iPhone 6 and iPhone 6 Plus users spend money at participating stores by using their phone's fingerprint scanner and holding the device up to the register. The system is already preloaded into the phones. Apple says about 500 banks will also support Apple Pay.
Well, it looks like Monday morning is the last morning of our normal first freeze window, and we have hit at the coolest so far this season, 33 degrees. Sunday morning is the coolest one we have in the forecast. That's early on the 19th, and we only get down to 36 there. So technically, we are going to have a late first freeze this year. We'll check out how warm we get in the extended forecast coming up after the break.
You're watching David Nelson and Morgan Otier. This is KWQC TV6 Quad Cities Today. And now, the Quad Cities' most reliable forecast with meteorologist Greg Dutra.
Mainly clear skies last night, and we have clear skies to kick it off early this morning, too. But low-level clouds moving in from our northwest. They've already overspread most of Iowa, about 2/3 of the state so far, and they're only about 2,000 or so feet above the ground. So they're pretty low-hanging. They're going to make for a gray day, and again, they are on their way. But look at the southern edge of this. It starts to get a little ragged when you get around Highway 34, so I expect Burlington and Galesburg and even out towards Galvin, Kewanee to maybe see just a little bit more sunshine than the rest of us as those clouds do finally make their way into eastern Iowa and western Illinois. So here's a little bit of a closer look. They've spread, I'd say, another 50 or so miles over the last hour or so now out towards Iowa City, and they're going to take their time getting here. We will have a mostly sunny start as that sun does pop above the horizon, maybe even a nice sunrise if you live off to the west of the Quad Cities, because those clouds will be approaching from the west and the sun will be popping up from the east. It usually makes for some pretty good pictures, but the problem here is these clouds are pretty low. Usually you get the nice sunrises with higher level clouds. A look at temperatures across the board right now, getting kind of cool up to the north of the Quad Cities, 45 in Clinton, 48 in Monticello, but overall we are warmer than normal to kick it off this morning. So you may be saying, well, great, it'll be easy to hit a warmer than normal high temperature. The problem, though, of course, goes back to those clouds. As they arrive during the late morning, they hang around all day long into the evening, too, with most of the cloud cover along and north of Interstate 80. But by early Saturday, we will be mostly clear, and we stay clear through the first day of the weekend. It's actually looking really nice Saturday afternoon, aside from a chillier high temperature. Temps today, they're not looking that great after our start above normal. We only make the mid-50s in Maquoketa, and you'll notice that the further you head south, the warmer those temperatures get. And that goes exactly back to what I was talking about earlier, where the clouds are a bit more ragged off to the south, and they have a couple more hours of sunshine before they do finally arrive. So upper 50s, lower 60s, about normal south of Interstate 80. And we're pretty close to normal here around the Quad Cities, a few degrees shy, hitting 57 in Cordova, 58 today in Eldridge. Walcott, you'll hit 59 degrees, and so will the Quad Cities after starting off mostly clear. We all also deal with wind today, northwest winds. Right now they're at about 10 miles per hour. They're going to go ahead and swing up to about 20 to 30 miles per hour this afternoon, and it's the direction that's the real killer for our temperatures headed into the weekend. Because it's from the west to northwest, we're going to get that cooler air. So despite going back to sunshine on Saturday, we don't make it too far, only about the mid-50s, although we do recover to about 60 degrees on Sunday, and our coolest low temperature on the outlook is early Sunday morning at 36 degrees, which is cooler than normal, but not our first freeze. Looks like we staved that off for at least another week.
Is it a trick or a treat? Well, it's all treats this year for store owners, with the average person expected to fork over $78 each this Halloween. NBC's Mark Barger has the details.
For retailers, there should be a lot more treats than tricks this Halloween. Predictions have consumers on target to spend $7.4 billion on everything from candy and costumes to decorations, making Halloween bigger than ever.
It's about creating experience, and I think that's why it's been able to propel itself into this giant industry that's actually the second fastest growing holiday for consumer spending.
Partygoers are expected to splurge on multiple get-ups and accessories for all ages, spending $350,000 dressing particular family members.
Halloween is kind of this hall pass where we get for one day to do the things that we love doing as kids, dressing up and playing pretend, indulging in the treats that we usually deny ourselves the rest of the year.
From entertaining to home decor, high-end retailers are selling Halloween-inspired goods to get a bite of some of the spooktacular sales.
It goes beyond kids going out and just collecting candy on the night of.
According to the National Retail Federation, 43% of shoppers start their Halloween shopping in the first 2 weeks of October, with just under 25% waiting until the last minute. Regardless of when, everyone is doling out the cash. Since 2005, spending on Halloween is up 55%.
No matter what the economic hardships are for families, they enjoy just letting loose on Halloween and having fun.
So carve your jack-o'-lanterns, load up the candy dish, and prepare yourself for frightfully fun festivities. Mark Barger, NBC News.
Analysts say Halloween falling on a Friday this year will boost sales and extend the celebrations throughout the weekend. And coming up on Quad Cities today, more on the shots fired in Davenport and police chase that ensued. This is a live look. We've been on multiple scenes covering the story from the very beginning. A live report with Danielle from that scene you're looking at right now, coming up next. All right, taking a live look out at traffic on your Friday morning. It is 6:20. You're looking live at I-74, the last Iowa exit. Definitely a lot of traffic out there, but no real backups to speak of. We continue to follow breaking news in Davenport this morning. At least 2 people were involved in a shots fired incident and a police chase. KWQC's Danielle McCarthy has been following this story all morning. She joins us live from a very active scene near Marquette and 7th. Danielle, we know at least some of the suspects are still on the run this morning.
A lot of pieces to this story, Morgan. Of course, the suspects that you just mentioned being one of them. No confirmation yet that any of them are in custody. I do keep checking on that information, though. But again, have not heard whether or not any of them are in custody. We have been told that there are at least 2 suspects. So we're at 7th and Marquette right now. I just want to explain to you what's going on behind me. Sheriff's deputies here with the Scott County Sheriff's Department have taken over this investigation. You can see them here behind me. They've been taking a lot of pictures in the last few minutes here of different pieces of this scene right now. And neighbors who live in this area have been coming out of their houses slowly and steadily this morning, and police and investigators have been interviewing them. So that's what's happening right now. Now, a little background on this scene, if you didn't catch our live shot in the last 10-15 minutes or so, this is one part of where the chase was this morning. So it started just southwest of here near Sturtevant, Division, Rockingham, that area. Police responded to a call of shots being fired, then chased a car over here to 7th and Marquette, where we are right now. A lot of action happened right here, including an exchange of gunfire between the suspects in the car and police. So since police are involved in the shooting that happened, that's why you're seeing these Scott County Sheriff's deputies investigating right here. So that's just department protocol right there. Now we're going to keep checking on the latest information here. We've been told we might get some new information soon within the next 10 to 20 minutes or so on whether those suspects are in custody or not, and what's happening on a second scene at First and Linwood in Davenport. Danielle McCarthy, KWQC, TV6 News.
All right, Danielle, thank you. And when we get more details, we'll bring them to you here on Quad Cities Today and on our website, kwqc.com. On a lighter note, a reminder, we're going to have all the big high school matchups in our area tonight on the Highlight Zone. Tonight is 80s night on the Zone. You'll totally want to catch the rad action starting tonight at 10.
Good morning. A beautiful morning for a commute, at least in comparison to yesterday. Of course, that's very fresh in our memories, as we could not even see this view on the 74 bridge yesterday morning. Fog was reducing visibility down to less than quarter of a mile at some points, even down to 0 at one point in the Quad Cities. But traffic moving smoothly this morning, and our skies are clear, starting off this morning opposite and winding up this afternoon opposite as well, as instead of going to sunshine, we go to cloud cover today. Northwest winds at 15 to 30 miles per hour, making for a breezy evening commute, and also temperatures stay on the cool side of things too. We'll take a look at the extended forecast coming up.
All right, thanks so much, Greg. Superstar Peyton Manning is poised to break the record for NFL touchdown passes. Manning and his Denver Broncos will take on the San Francisco 49ers on NBC Sunday Night Football. Bill St. James has more on the possible history in the making.
And for Manning, he's the 6th man in NFL history to throw 7 in a game.
Maybe we've all come to expect the record-breaking high theater that has followed Peyton Manning's career. But not long ago, there was doubt about whether Manning's football life would be cut short, as a career-threatening injury led his old team, the Indianapolis Colts, to do what was once unthinkable: release him.
This town and this team means so much to me. It truly has been an honor to play in Indianapolis.
Then Manning was recruited to Denver by another QB legend, the Broncos Vice President John Elway, and the results have been tremendous, including a record-breaking 55-touchdown season a year ago and a trip to Super Bowl 48, which wasn't to be for the Broncos. Now at age 38 and in his 17th season in the NFL, the future Hall of Famer will have a shot to break another all-time great's career touchdown passing record, Brett Favre's benchmark of 508 touchdown passes. This Sunday night, perhaps we'll see a living legend rewrite the record books in what could be a history-making moment, as Peyton Manning looks to set the record for the most touchdown passes ever.
Live from the KWQC Broadcast Center, this is TV6 Quad Cities Today.
We're still following some breaking news this morning in Davenport. We know there was a police chase with shots fired. People involved are still on the run. And today, local healthcare providers will hold a meeting to share Ebola facts and how they're preparing. It comes just a day after Illinois launched an Ebola information hotline. Good morning, everyone. I'm Morgan OTA. Thanks so much for waking up with us. Greg has your latest forecast, but first we want to get to that breaking news we've been talking about in Davenport. Police are looking for at least 2 people who were involved in a shooting and police chase early this morning. KWQC's Danielle McCarthy is live in Davenport. Danielle, there are multiple scenes involved within this story.
Morgan, before we get into all the details here, I just want to warn anyone who normally takes this way on their way to work near 7th and Marquette, where we are right now, to stay clear of this area. We're seeing a lot of cars that are trying to come through this way, and they're having to turn around because, as you can see, this area is blocked off. They have the crime scene tape up here, and investigators are working on this scene right now. So in the last 10 minutes, I kind of explained to you what happened here. Now, since then, investigators have really been focusing on this white corner house that you're seeing right here. It's just where the chase happened this morning. Police eventually chased a suspect's car here east down 7th Street. And when we were here first on the scene this morning, we got an exclusive interview with Police Chief Don Schaefer. He explained what that chase was like at this intersection right here.
They tried to swerve around those stop sticks, and they hit that tree that's in the background in there. From that point, then they drove it. They put it in reverse, completely went around the squad car, and then hit that second squad car.
So we're told that during that chase that happened right here in this intersection, gunfire was exchanged between police and the suspects in the vehicle. We're told that there are at least 2 suspects involved. Now, last time we checked in with Police Chief Don Schaefer, he told us that the suspects were not in custody. I've checked multiple times with other officers since then. No one has been able to give me any updated information. So that's the most recent information we have is from when we were here and talked to Police Chief Don Schaefer just after the police chase happened this morning. So those suspects, to our knowledge, are still at large this morning. Again, we're here at 7th and Marquette, and we'll bring you as many details as we get them later on our show. Reporting live in Davenport, Danielle McCarthy, KWQC TV6 News.
Danielle, thank you. And once again, this is the 3rd officer-involved shooting in Davenport in the last 3 months. The Scott County Attorney has cleared 4 Davenport officers involved in one of those shootings that killed a man barricaded in his garage last month. Attorney Mike Walton says James Cave's fiance called 911 on September 2nd. Officers responded and spent 3.5 hours negotiating with Cave from his garage. Walton says Cave was sitting in the garage, which was full of other belongings like gasoline, preventing officers from using non-lethal options like tear gas. The man was shot while aiming his gun and walking toward police. Another officer-involved shooting happened late on the night of August 13th. You may remember this happened on the 600 block of 9th Street. Police say 61-year-old Alvin Jennings was inside a house there, stabbing holes through his roommate's bedroom door. They say he came at 2 officers with a knife. The officers then shot Jennings 7 times. Those officers were also cleared in that shooting, and they are back to work. Coincidentally, today is Davenport Police Chief Frank Donchez's last day on the job. Last month, Chief Donchez announced he's leaving to take a similar position in Overland Park, Kansas. He was recognized for his 6 years of service as police chief during a ceremony on Wednesday. Assistant Police Chief Major Don Schaefer is being promoted to the chief position. Schaefer will serve until his retirement, which is next July. He's been with the department for 43 years. New this morning, a woman in Clinton is recovering from a gunshot wound. Last night around 5:30, Clinton police say they were dispatched to the 1100 block of South 9th Street for a shooting. When police got to the scene, they didn't find anyone hurt. A few minutes later, though, officers say they were called to the hospital, where 22-year-old Sierra Donnelly was being treated for a gunshot wound. At this time, her condition is unknown. Anyone with any information is asked to call police. Today, some Illinois lawmakers will be talking about police body cameras. The House Judiciary Committee will meet at 10:30 this morning. Body cameras have been in the spotlight since the police shooting of an unarmed teen in Missouri 2 months ago. Just last month, the Hampton, Illinois Police Department started using 2 new body cameras. The cameras cost about $400 each, plus a $250 docking station that downloads the video to a secure server off-site. Buffalo, Iowa police also wear body cameras, and the Davenport department is looking into them. Let's switch gears now and take a live look outside on your Friday morning. Sun is still not up, but we're walking out the door, Greg, to a pretty mild temperature.
Yeah, you deserve a break. There's a lot of news this morning.
There is a lot of news, yes.
You just take a breather, and I'll take it from here for a couple of minutes. All right, sounds good. Yeah, we are just a little bit warmer than normal this morning, and we are clear to start it off. And as that sun comes up, we'll get a couple of hours of nice sunshine. But clouds do arrive a little bit later on in the morning, and they're going to hang around through the afternoon into tonight, and perhaps even into early Saturday morning for a brief period before we clear out and have a pretty good but chilly weekend. So here's a look at your temperatures. The coldest temp out the door this morning is in Clinton at 45 degrees. It's 51 in Savannah, lower 50s in the Quad Cities, lower 50s as well in Muscatine at 52 degrees. And there are those clouds in your day planner. They do arrive shortly, I'd say by noontime at the very latest. Mid-50s are where our high temperatures are held because of those clouds. I'd say about 59 degrees is about the best we'll squeak out in the Quad Cities. And one of the main reasons, not only the cloud cover, but also the wind is from the northwest up to 30 miles per hour today. So that's going to drag in cold air. And even when our skies clear back out for the weekend, we're kind of stuck in that 50-degree range. I'll have your extended forecast coming on up.
As of this morning, both nurses infected with Ebola are no longer in Texas. Tracy Potts is in Washington this morning with more on that, plus news that another healthcare worker being watched for Ebola has left the country on vacation.
Before Nina Pham arrived at NIH last night, we got our first look at the Ebola-infected nurse in good spirits in her hospital room in Dallas.
Party, Maryland.
We're also getting a first look today at what the CDC is doing to stop this virus. The government released these pictures last night. They're now doing temperature checks at 5 airports. Lawmakers, mostly Republicans, are pressuring President Obama to ban travel from West Africa.
The president ought to at least stop non-U.S. citizens from those 3 affected Western African countries from coming here.
But the president says a ban might prompt travelers to hide where they're coming from, increasing our risk.
We could end up having more cases rather than less.
There's no such thing as Fortress America when it comes to infectious diseases.
He is considering a so-called Ebola czar, one government official to oversee the response. That could now include reserves and the National Guard. President Obama's authorized them to head to West Africa if needed. Tracy Potts, NBC News, Washington.
In Illinois, the Department of Public Health has activated a hotline to answer questions about Ebola. It'll be managed by the Illinois Poison Center and available to the public 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. That number is on your screen. It is 800-889-3931. Staff is on hand to answer questions about the disease, how it's spread, and the state's response. And today, area healthcare providers from around the Quad Cities will come together to help educate the public on Ebola facts. That meeting is at noon at the Rock Island County Health Department. We will have a crew there and we'll update you on that information in our later newscasts. Well, we want to thank everyone for another successful year of Project Bundle Up. Yesterday, hundreds of people dropped off warm winter clothes at our studios for the Salvation Army. Those donations now go to 27 schools in the Quad Cities and also to children living in shelters.
And this year, the community really came through with not only hats, mittens, coats, but underwear and socks. And truthfully, I think we've gotten way more new things this year than we did last.
With your donations, we've received more than 7,000 items. Once there's a final count, we'll update you on the exact numbers and if we reach the 10,000 item goal. A brand new $15 million athletic complex for Galesburg High School is finished. Today, school officials will unveil the final product to the community. The stadium seats more than 2,800 people. The entire project includes a 2-story field house, a track, 2 basketball courts, tennis courts, and a soccer field. This is part of a $110 million master plan to improve student achievement. The ribbon-cutting ceremony will be held this afternoon at 4:30. And a reminder, we're going to have all the big high school matchups in our area tonight on the Highlight Zone. Tonight, Greg, is 80s night on the Zone, so you'll totally want to catch the rad action.
It's gonna be
10.
It's gonna be tubular. Yeah, that'd be pretty cool.
Oh my gosh.
That's the only other word I can
That's
really
a good
come up
one.
with.
Oh, of course, we want to remind you too, you can share all of your pictures using the hashtag QC Zone. That's Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook.
All right, and as we take a look here at our forecast headlines today, we get the clouds, we get cooler than normal temperatures this afternoon, but our forecast, while cool, is not exactly cold. We don't get to the freezing mark. I'll show you how close we get, though, coming up.
You're watching David Nelson and Morgan Otier. This is KWQC TV6 Quad Cities Today. And now, the Quad Cities' most reliable forecast with meteorologist Greg Dutra.
Cloud cover moving in from our northwest, going to provide a mostly cloudy afternoon for us, but we still have some time. Notice I said afternoon, so this morning should be okay, although there are some clouds starting to slip into our westernmost counties at this point. The vast majority of us still starting off this morning mostly clear. Let's take a closer look since those clouds are getting just a bit outside the Quad Cities right now. From Iowa City to about Muscatine is where we see some of those lower level clouds starting to build in, and this is a pretty low hanging cloud deck, anywhere from about 2,500 to maybe up to 3,000 feet on the higher end of things, and that is enough to make it a pretty gray day for us. So temperatures where they're sitting right now is basically where they're going to be this afternoon. Sure, we'll warm up by a little bit, but nowhere near our typical warm up. We'll likely hit about the mid to upper 50s at the warmest north of the Quad Cities, and perhaps a couple of 60s off to the south. And that's after starting off warmer than normal, most of us at or even above the 50-degree mark already this morning. So ExactTrack brings the clouds in today and through this evening as well. Expect those football games to be cloudy, but by early Saturday, we should have partially clear skies, and that means a good day, first day of the weekend rather, in terms of sunshine. Now, temperatures I can't promise. We're not going to warm up too much on Saturday. I'll explain why in a couple of seconds. First, a look at today's forecast high temperatures, and as I said, we're not going too far temperature-wise, only 54 in Dubuque. Same thing out in Anamosa. You'll notice, though, the further south you head of the Quad Cities, first of all, the more in the way of sunshine you're going to see as the sun not only lasts longer, but also the clouds get a little bit thinner on the southern edge of this, and they become a little bit more ragged. It's not just a solid edge of clouds like we saw, say, a couple of days ago, yesterday morning, actually, as those clouds moved out off to the east. And temperatures this afternoon a bit warmer to the south as a result of more sunshine, likely upper 50s to lower 60s. Meanwhile, a mix of sun and clouds in the Quad Cities, although I would definitely call it mostly cloudy. It's going to edge towards that side of things. So here's the afternoon sky in the Quad Cities. Here's what we have going on this morning. A bit of sunshine to kick it off. High temperature of 59 degrees. And watch those winds, because that's what plays into the weekend forecast. Anywhere from 10 to 30 miles per hour. We're already sitting at 10 miles per hour from the west in the Quad Cities. It's a dozen miles per hour in Rock Falls, 13 miles per hour out in Muscatine, and these numbers have gone up even since we started Quad Cities Today at 4:30 this morning, and I expect them to continue to go up today. So even though we get drier air in the weekend forecast, that wind from the west to northwest keeps our temperatures on the cold side of things. Only 55 on Saturday, 60 on Sunday. Clouds arrive again in the forecast on Monday, but it's one of our warmest high temperatures on the outlook, hitting 64 degrees. And by the way, that's 36 degree low temperature early Sunday morning, the coolest low we have on the outlook. That is one of the last days that we have within that normal window for our first freeze. So Morgan, technically,
Later than normal.
Even though we hit 33 2 days.
Yeah.
I go by the numbers. 33 is not the freezing mark, so later than normal freeze for us.
All right, thanks so much, Greg.
No
and
problem.
It may be a little bit chilly, but there is some good news happening this weekend. You're looking live this morning at the shut down Centennial Bridge that's been causing problems for a lot of commuters lately. Well, we are told that that should be opening up Sunday afternoon, so come the Monday morning commute, drivers, you should be able to take that Centennial Bridge. Happening today, kids can trick or treat at North Park Mall. That's from 4 until 6 tonight. And tomorrow, South Park Mall will hold a trick or treat event for kids at the very same time. Today, crews will break ground on a new Essentra credit union in Davenport. It'll be located at 1800 Brady Street and will replace a nearby older branch. It's in walking distance of both St. Ambrose University and Palmer College. Today's ribbon cutting will be at the new location at 4 p.m. The office should officially open in late spring of next year. The Arc of the Quad Cities is expanding in Rock Island. They'll celebrate today with a groundbreaking for the first of 5 new homes to be built over the next year. The new homes will give individuals with disabilities the opportunity to live a full and inclusive life. That groundbreaking is at 11 this morning in the 2000 block of 19th Street. That's behind the Hy-Vee in Rock Island. And a reminder, this weekend is the last weekend of the season for the Channel Cat Water Taxi. The boat will run tomorrow and Sunday from noon until just before 6 p.m. The Channel Cat will then start up again next spring.
Coming up on a Friday morning here on Today, we're going to have much more on the Ebola crisis as one of the infected Dallas nurses arrives for treatment in Maryland overnight, plus the hospital where she contracted that virus now responds to our exclusive interview with a nurse who says they were woefully unprepared to deal with the situation. Also ahead, a massive hurricane in the Atlantic set to hammer Bermuda today, while parts of Hawaii brace for a powerful tropical storm. We'll be live on both islands. Then 25 years after a massive earthquake rocks San Francisco, are we ready for the next big one? Jeff Rossum will take you inside a simulator being used to make buildings, roads, and bridges safer. Those stories plus Joan London and how you can pull off fall's hottest fashion trends when we see you on a Friday right here on Today.
Go to kwqc.com/rewards and enter the Quad Cities Today word of the day to win 2,500 KWQC rewards points.
Yesterday was just gorgeous. After we had, of course, the early morning fog, the afternoon was spectacular. High temperature in the upper 60s in the Quad Cities, lower 70s out in Muscatine, 66 in Clinton. And I'm here today to deliver some bad news. It's not going to be nearly as nice today. Instead of going from clouds to sunshine, we go from sunshine to clouds. Our high temperature hits 59 in the Quad Cities. Our low tonight, it's right on par with normal. But Saturday will be beautiful, although on the cool side of things. We'll take a look at that Saturday forecast and beyond coming up with your 7-day one more time before the Today Show.
Great, thanks a lot, Greg. And we continue to follow breaking news out of West Davenport this morning. Davenport police say there are at least 2 suspects involved in a shots fired incident and police chase. KWQC's Danielle McCarthy has been working this story for us all morning. She joins us live from Marquette and 7th, which, Danielle, remains a very active scene.
It does, Morgan, and I just checked in with Davenport police a few minutes ago here. They tell me that the sheriff's department has taken over the officer-involved shooting portion of this case, but the rest of it is still an active call that Davenport police are working on. So we've been here on scene since this incident first happened around 1 this morning. We're at 7th and Marquette right now, part of where this police chase led to. So you can see what's happening behind me here. Investigators interviewing some neighbors here on scene. This again is part of where the police chase happened. It started southwest of here. Police responded to a shots fired call. That took them here back where we're standing again right now as we come back live to where we are. And actually police were chasing the suspects in their car, were able to put up some stop sticks. Those suspects swerved around the stop sticks, hit a tree, hit those signposts that you're seeing right there, tilted toward the ground, and actually one lying on the ground. Hit a squad car, then took off north on Marquette, but not before exchanging gunfire with police. So eventually, those suspects abandoned their car in the west side of Davenport and fled on foot. Again, we're told at least 2 suspects are involved now. We have not gotten this other scene confirmed at first in Linwood, where we've also been this morning, but we do know that scene is somehow related to this one we're at right now. So still working to get some details about what happened there. We'll bring those to you as soon as possible. Reporting live in Davenport, Danielle McCarthy, KWQC TV6 News.
Of course, this story continues to evolve. We're getting more information, and we will update you on the air and on our website, kwqc.com. The Scott County Attorney has cleared 4 Davenport officers involved in a shooting that killed a man barricaded in his garage last month. Mike Walton says James Cave's fiance called 911 on September 2nd. Officers responded and spent 3.5 hours negotiating with Cave from his garage. Walton says Cave was sitting in the garage, which was full of other belongings like gasoline, preventing officers from using non-lethal options like tear gas. The man was shot while aiming his gun and walking toward police.
That precluded the use of any sort of flashbang or that type of tear gas, anything that would cause a flame, which would have created a substantial risk of a very large fire.
The 4 officers who fired their weapons and the negotiator remain on paid leave pending the conclusion of police department reviews. Another officer-involved shooting happened late on the night of August 13th on the 600 block of 9th Street. Police say 61-year-old Alvin Jennings was inside a house there, stabbing holes through his roommate's bedroom door. They say he came at 2 officers with a knife. The officers then shot Jennings 7 times. The officers were also cleared in that shooting. The Illinois Department of Public Health has activated a hotline to answer questions about Ebola. It'll be managed by the Illinois Poison Center. That's going to be available to the public 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You can see the number on your screen right now, 800-889-3931. Staff is on hand to answer questions about the disease, how it's spread, and the state's response. Also today, area healthcare providers from around the Quad Cities will come together to help educate the public on Ebola facts. That meeting is at noon at the Rock Island County Health Department. We're going to have a crew there, and we'll update you on the information online and in our later newscasts. South African athlete Oscar Pistorius returned to court today for the 5th and final day of his sentencing hearing. He arrived to court this morning to attend closing arguments. Last month, Pistorius was found guilty of culpable homicide for negligently killing his girlfriend Reva Steenkamp. Pistorius shot her several times through a bathroom door in his home on Valentine's Day last year. Today, the judge is expected to decide what sentence Pistorius should serve. He could face as little as a fine and house arrest, or he could be sent to prison for up to 15 years. Taking a quick live look outside as the sun finally rises over the Quad Cities metro this morning. Greg's back with a weather update when we come back.
Good morning, and enjoy the limited sunshine we get because clouds are going to arrive today and winds are going to continue to increase 10 to 30 miles per hour today, and that brings in cooler air for our Saturday. Drier air though, 55 degrees, but with mostly sunny skies. You got to take the good with the bad, I guess. Down to 36 early Sunday. Cooler than normal, but not hitting freezing. That's important because it means we will have a late freeze this year, as from Sunday morning on, our low temperatures actually increase, and so do our high temperatures, up to 65 degrees by the middle of next week.
Thanks, Greg. And we have been following breaking news out of Davenport for you throughout this morning. Police say shots were fired, a chase ensued, and suspects may still be on the run. This is brand new video that we were able to put in for you before the end of the show. This is of another scene. As we know, as we've been telling you, there have been 2 active scenes all morning. Danielle was live from one. This one you can see a car involved in the investigation was being towed away. We will have more for you this morning during the Today Show.